leverage your knowledge to success.
Hello, my friends. Welcome to another episode of Adhitya Talks. Today we have Mr. Anirudh Phadke sir with us. He is a senior of mine from IIMK. He was part of the pioneer batch at IIMK, and he's done a lot more than that in over his extensive career from education to technology. And he is the founder of Employability.life. But I leave his introduction up to him. In your own words, sir. First of all, welcome to this episode. It's a honor to have you here.
It's my pleasure and honor to be with you, Aditya. I'm not really somebody who would deserve to be in such conversations, but I'm just hoping that it'll make sense to you and your viewers.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here, and I hope I learn a lot from this episode. And same for my viewers. Sir, can you introduce yourself for our viewers in your own words? Can you describe your life, your career, what your life motto is?
Sure. I've lived many years on the planet now, so I think encapsulating everything in a short sentence would be hard, but let me try. I've been in the education and technology industry for quite some time now, and after, of course, the MBA, I think the professional life started with a new twist and turn after IIMK's MBA program. Before that, I had done my engineering and then worked in two separate engineering companies, quite a high-tech kind of companies, one in Roorkee and one in Satara. But then, of course, after the MBA, I switched to education and haven't switched back to anything else after that. So in the MBA, post MBA life, I think the focus has been to deliver a lot of value to the students, teachers, education industry in general. And mostly it has been about using technology in the way it benefits everyone. Aside from my work, I started pretty late in my fitness journey. I wasn't typically a lazy person ever, but I think around the year when I was turning 40 or 42, and that's when I thought, let me take care of my body a bit. And incidentally, at roughly the same time, I signed up for organ donation. And I thought it's like a moral responsibility to keep your body in shape so that anybody who gets your body parts later doesn't really feel bad about it. So
Yeah,
that's in a nutshell.
you're accountable
how
to yourself and another person. That makes sense. Sir, what made you switch from technology to education, and like what brought that change?
Actually, it was never technology per se. I started my career with a company called Career Launcher, which is in coaching business. If you know, I think they've shifted the name to CL Educate now, and it was a very fruitful stint for many years. I think more than a decade. And I was in all sorts of roles, including business and technology, of course. But technology switch hasn't really happened in that sense. I've always been in education, and a mix of education and technology is what made me curious about how do you apply here. But throughout my professional life, I've been more of a business person than technology, and I think that makes it a little bit more grounded, because usually technology people will not deliver solutions that are really business friendly. So sometimes we, as techies, we tend to design solutions which are not really very practical, or maybe they're not friendly to business people. And in my case, of course, business people meant people who are teaching or studying and so on. So for me, the journey has been more of understanding how the business works, how education works, and then deploying something that eventually benefits everyone.
Yeah. Education is something that leads a lot more innovation in India itself, and the system here has become has become redundant in many aspects, and I think a lot of innovation and ideation could be done to further improve this industry. And AI has also exposed some of the weaknesses that exist in education, and with all of these students using AI to study and using AI to pass exams, and a lot of universities having a real struggle with struggle in figuring out how they can integrate AI into education. What do you think? What do you think is the future of education, and how do you think we go from here?
That's a very interesting question, Aditya, because I think from the time when people started writing things on notebooks, this question of students cheating or taking advantage of technology would have been there. I mean, I'm sure our ancient gurus would have balked at this idea of writing things down, because they would have thought if you write it down, then you will cheat at some point of time, right? So I think since that era, I think everybody would have been a little cautious about using technology, and more so when we had Google, everything, people started saying that Google will make it difficult for students, or sorry, teachers to evaluate things honestly, and people will start using Google for cheating, and so things happen. I don't think we need to be too much worried about this aspect, because as human species we will find our way into it. Some of the universities have, of course, started going back to paper exams instead of online. I don't think that's the right way of doing it. Like you said, there are a lot of gaps in the education system. Maybe we are still focusing a lot on what memory, uh, how much role memory plays in our learning. Maybe it's the right time to think beyond that. You don't really need to rely on memory and rely on um, rote learning and things like that. Maybe we need to redesign our assessments in a way that it promotes ingenuity, it promotes innovation, fresh thinking. And AI, of course, can only give you as much. I mean, AI depends on what the world knows so far. It doesn't know what the world doesn't know so far. So I think we'll come around to that. I'm quite positive, quite optimistic about doing that. But at the same time, I think AI has given us a lot of opportunities in making a very, very big change in education.
Yeah.
I think for the first time ever, we are in a situation when a teacher teaching, say, 30, 40 students or 50 students in a class can actually deliver very, very focused, personalized learning content to every student, and also administer a very personalized assessment system to every student. So that's the right way of handling this change.
Yeah. So what do you think the role of an educator should be in this era of knowledge being instantly accessible, as well as students being able to use AI to like delve into the topic by themselves and have a personalized mentor in the form of AI? Aside from that, uh, yeah, that answers that question. I have another question which I'll follow up on.
Um, yeah, so I think teachers, they should always have been our mentors and guides rather than mere teachers. Even when Google happened, I suppose the good teachers were always the ones who tried to use Google in their regular lesson planning, and they would have taught their students as to how to use Google properly. There are right and wrong ways of using Google. There are right and wrong ways of using AI, Now, it is the responsibility of the mentor or the guide in the form of that conventional teacher who should be able to taking a lead. They should take a lead and say that, okay, this is how it should be done. And there's no shying away from using ChatGPT or whatever. But I think even if you use ChatGPT for almost everything in your life, but there is always a right and wrong way of doing it, isn't it? I mean, you may not be able to ask the right questions to ChatGPT or Google, and you will still fail. So for a teacher, they need to evolve. A lot of them are doing it already, but I'm sure there are ways to improve themselves on this.
Yeah. So, sir, let's talk about your startup, startup or business, employability. Can you tell us what you do? You started it 2 years ago, I think, and
Yeah.
so what do you do?
Yeah. So first of all, I'm not from the founding team. I joined a little later. This was a startup within our organization, and we had a couple of more startups. So I founded another one, which was called Start Blocks, which was trying to automate and simplify admissions process in the international education segment. And then later on, when things didn't go very right in that direction in for Start Blocks, I joined Employability.life as the CTO. But Employability.life is actually a enabling kind of platform, and what we deliver is project-based learning to students of graduate and postgraduate institutions. And this is done through a group-based learning format. So basically, not doing things alone. You will be doing things in small groups of 4 or 5, 6 students. But more importantly, you're guided by professional project managers and product owners from the industry. Unlike normally when professionals come into colleges and institutions, colleges and universities, they would come there for maybe a hour of a guest lecture, or maybe they'll share some gyan and then go back, right? I mean, that's how it usually happens. But here what happens is, in a very small group, in a very focused environment, if there are 6 students and they're talking to, let's say, a senior vice president of one of the banking institutions that they look forward to, um, and they report to that person about how the project is progressing and so on. And of course, the senior professional is also telling them and sharing them about what's happening in the industry. So that's a very focused intervention, I would say, and that benefits the students a lot, because and of course, because we are using it completely online, so it's not really, they give us their precious time. We make sure that we are using a lot of technology, AI behind the scenes, to ensure that their time is utilized properly, by not giving them mundane tasks like assessments and taking attendance and all that stuff. We just remove everything. It's like you and I talking
Mm.
directly, and not having to worry about any other thing except
Mm.
sharing and learning from each other. And
Mm.
then, of course, my role has been to develop the technology platform. And I must say that over the last 1 year, we've developed it far enough and added so much of functionality. Uh, Luckily for us, I think the AI revolution coincided with our growth, and we've benefited a lot from how AI has been changing the world.
All
Yeah.
right. Yeah. So, how is employability different from education in your view? And as for students, you mentioned what are the demographics of students that you take on at employability? Are they college students or professionals that want to change their career or maybe get more high paying jobs?
That's a very futuristic thought for us. And as of now, the employability.life is focused on training graduate students in colleges, currently studying in colleges and universities. We partner with currently about 40, 45 institutions across the country. And spread across. I mean, right from north, south, and east, west, everywhere. And we've partnered with very, very reputed government public universities as well, uh, to ensure that their students are getting the right, filling that gap between a graduate degree and employment. And the most value that people have seen so far has been because of the interactions that they do in with real professionals. And also, learning is not just about having to pass an exam or understanding theory or learning some formulae. I think it's also about trying to work with each other. And in the current virtual world, I mean, that we live in, it's becoming harder and harder for young people to actually work in teams and in a professional context. It's very hard for a college student. I was in the same situation when I was a college student, and it it must be really hard for a college student to enter a professional life and be expected to perform professionally. And when I say professionally, it's not just about the dress sense or something. I think it's also about how do you behave, or how do you ensure that you value each other's time. And if my task is dependent on somebody else's task or vice versa,
Yeah, the
I need to be.
professional respect and decorum
Yeah,
is not maintained.
absolutely, absolutely. And that's something that students don't learn in college. I think you need something of this sort to ensure that it happens. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of that also comes up from your upbringing, and with the change in time, a lot of people have become lax and more chill about things. And I don't think that's bad necessarily, but you should have some sort of decorum when it comes to professional spaces and work, because that maintains the self respect and the respect that you have between employees. So aside from that, uh, why do so many graduates struggle despite having degrees in Australia? And in India also, this is one of the biggest challenges. And I think this is one of the issues with MBA as well, that a lot of students have an MBA degree, but they don't have jobs. And this is a problem that I am also worried about, because business management as a whole, I'm a business BMS student. I don't understand where the placement scenario is going and what do companies want from us, because of the evolving technology and a lot of things rendering the past job descriptions useless for us. So we don't have any past data to go off of, and anything else. Everybody says that you have to get an MBA from an IIM in the future. I don't think that makes sense for me, because I think I want to get some work experience and then do an MBA or whatever I want to do in terms of masters. Uh, I This is a personal question as well as a genuine doubt. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's a very valid fear in people's minds, because you hear stories about people being laid off because of AI progression and so on. And honestly, I think it's not very easy um, to live with this kind of a fear all the time. But having said that, I think the kind of opportunities that are coming up today because of AI, irrespective, not just irrespective of AI, I think it's because of AI you are creating more and more opportunities. Um, one option, of course, is to think of a business idea or something that you always wanted to experiment with and then release a prototype. I think we are in a era where anybody can really work on, say, a mobile app or a solution to solve your own problems. And I've always tried to find ways to keep myself updated. And so I started using Lovable, which is the programming app, kind of AI coding, as they call it, vibe coding.
Yeah.
So I'm far away from coding nowadays. I mean, I don't really code myself. There are very, very capable people that I work with who take on the coding work. But if there is an idea that comes to my mind and I'm becoming very impatient about how do you launch that idea, and it could be anything. I mean, it doesn't have to be about your work. It could be anything. So you just go to Lovable and type a few prompts, work with it over a period of day or two. I think you'll have a very workable prototype. Now that's the kind of power that AI is giving you. Earlier, before AI, you would have to get, say, four or five experts, co-founders and all that, and live with their idiosyncrasies and everything, right? I mean, it's very hard to work with other people with the same vision or amount of energy that you have. But now is the time when you can really prototype something. And just to come back to what you said, I think um, getting some kind of portfolio ready, is something that will become more and more critical. And it's not just about technology jobs. I think everything that you do, like a management graduate, for instance, if you know what you've learned and if you're ready to apply it, I think you can build a portfolio, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
imagine learning some marketing concept and reaching out to an entrepreneur who is struggling with some marketing need. If you can solve their problem and it becomes a part of your portfolio, I think an employer is going to look at it very, very favorably, even in the age of AI.
Yeah, I think with the advent of technology and AI and AI reducing the dependence that we have on, a lot of engineers and tech, I think we are switching from employability to self-employment, and self-employment might be the solution to no jobs. And aside from that, yeah, I think having projects, having application based work done in your profile really boosts it in the eyes of the employer, and really makes a big change. What's your roadmap or advice for a student who just joined university to build their profile uh, for being employable?
Um, yeah, that's a very interesting question, and I get asked about this a lot of times. And I think the same approach applies there as well. Hone your skills. Um, with the advent of AI, I think the human skills or human to human skills will become more and more critical instead of the other way around. I think people imagine that with more and more computing or AI coming in, you don't need to talk to other people. But I think that's not the case. You will still have to talk to more people, more and more people, and be aware of what's happening around you. But even more importantly, just to demonstrate how good you are, even to demonstrate what you've achieved so far, you need to document everything. So we kind of tend to discount stuff that you've done in your life, right? I mean, you forget, isn't it? I mean, if you were asked, okay, what have you done so far, it will be very hard for a young person like you to actually remember everything. But if you start growing that habit of noting down, achievements, and those become a part of your portfolio later on, when some employer asks you, I'm sure you will refer to those notes and say, oh, I had done something like this when I was 16-year-old and 18 and so forth.
Yeah.
um, don't discount your achievements. I think it's very everybody has achieved something in their life at some point of time.
Yeah, I think building a profile showing how you can adapt with change and uh, how you're active, what your personality is like, really shows to the employer that even if some XYZ technology change or policy change happens in the future, this person will still be relevant because of their never-ending hard work type of an attitude. And building that kind of a profile since your first day in university really makes you strong in comparison to others, and really helps you get employers uh, to be attracted to you. Aside from that, uh, what you've also been, active in fitness, as you said, since you were 42. What inspired you to take on the three Ironman races, which I think you didn't mention, but it's a really important part of your profile that you did such a big competition at uh, at a senior age.
Yeah, so I started with a bit of cycling when I was based in Indore, and I said maybe that was the time when I was doing another startup called Beyond Teaching, which was a teachers network. By the time we winded it up, because of whatever reasons, we were about 150,000 teachers in the network across India, and doing very very well in terms of our objectives. Of course, we were not making a lot of money, but I think teachers made fair share of money for themselves. Yeah, so at that time, I got a cycle, and I thought maybe I should switch to a cycle going to office. It was really nice. That's how the journey started. I was must have been about 40 or reaching 40 at that time. And then, uh, one day this cycle, I think there was a puncture or something, and I was too lazy to get it repaired. Um, and I thought maybe I should try running for a bit. And the first time I ran, probably about 800 meters or something, and I was so tired and I was so exhausted. And I thought, how is that possible? You can't even run 1 kilometer. And that's when I think I started taking it seriously. Started running, and there were a lot of people who motivated me as well. And then somebody pushed me to run a 10 kilometer, then 21 kilometer, then 42 kilometers, and so on. So I started doing that over a period of a few years, and then I think at about 48 years of age or something, when I was about to turn 50, I think in a couple of years, I thought somebody said, "Why don't you do a triathlon?" And because I knew cycling and running, swimming a bit. I mean, I could save myself from drowning, but I didn't know like a true swimmer. So I just decided in my mind that before I turn 50, I'll do a Ironman. And the other thing that I decided was before I turn 55, I'll do a PhD. The second thing hasn't happened yet. I've just enrolled into a PhD program here at Federation University.
That's amazing.
Um,
That's amazing.
and yeah, so I'm
Congratulations.
running five years behind it. I just try to compensate for that feat by doing two more Ironman. Uh,
Amazing.
so
So, where did
yeah,
you do your Ironman?
so the first one was in Delhi, which was not really a technically an Ironman. I mean, there is a branded Ironman and there's an unbranded Ironman, so to speak.
I mean,
So
the parameters are defined. So,
yes. So the distances are the same, but then, I mean, there is obviously a marketing thing associated with it, right? So in Delhi, of
oh,
course, you don't have open waters. There's no river I mean, the river is too dirty to swim in,
yeah,
not an ocean. So the swimming part happens in a swimming pool. So this was in February 2020, just before COVID happens. So I was doing this. So in terms of distance, 3.8 kilometers of swimming, followed by 180 kilometers of cycling, and then 42 a full marathon of running. And all of that you need to finish in 17 hours total. I mean, including any rest that you may want to do. And I was really happy that I could survive all of that. I just wanted to finish it off, and I think I finished off about 40 minutes before that cutoff time, which is not really a very good time. And then followed it up after 2 years with a half Ironman in Malaysia. And then just last year, I did the third one, half Ironman again in Delhi. So, and the plan is to keep doing this every 2 years. That's the
amazing. Fitness is something that I've also taken a little seriously over the last year. Before this, I was a JE aspirant, and all of that rat race really makes you think about a lot, like your priorities on health go down. And I lost around 15 to 17 kgs in the last year at college. I started running and, focused on my physical health a lot more due to peer advice as well. Uh, and I myself was disappointed in myself. I was not able to run at all, and an hour of walking got me breathless. So really changed up my diet and my activities and my lifestyle. And I think I'm not on your level yet, and I hope one day I'll also be able to do an
I'm
Ironman.
sure you will.
But
I'm sure you
uh,
will.
yeah, so fitness is something that I really admire, and I hope that I also get to that stage one day. So, sir,
I think
yeah,
there is. Sorry to cut you off, but I thought I should tell you this. All young people, for instance, I wish I had started running in school, because that is something that's be within your reach. It's not really. It doesn't require any fancy gadgets or fancy training. Running is the most natural thing to do, right? I mean, there's nothing more enjoyable once you start running long distances.
mm,
And for me, I think it's also a way to come out of the work zone, once in a while. If you're pressured in your job, if you're pressured with your studies, I think running or anything, I mean, any physical activity, for instance, takes you off that. And I remember in some of the work situations when your boss is very angry with you, or something has happened at work which is very upsetting, you run an extra mile, or you run faster to just get over it, and that helps,
yeah,
um, just to keep you balanced. And I think
yeah.
running is a very natural thing. Everybody should run.
Yeah, running or any physical activity just helps you get off from all the distractions and all of the work, all of the uh, earthly affairs, and lets you just think by yourself and gives you solace. So I'm a firm supporter of just taking out some time for yourself to do something. Whether I think art is also something where people find
Yes.
their own groove. So do something that makes you, dive into yourself and kind of introspect. Uh,
True.
so that's inspiring. And aside from that, what made you become an organ donor? What does that commitment mean to you personally, alongside the Ironman discipline?
No, I think organ donor, you keep hearing it all the time, uh, in newspapers or social media, everywhere. I think it's a noble thing to do. It's quite selfless in that sense, that I think, and there's nothing that should stop us from doing it. And you know, so when I signed up for it and I came back, I think I didn't tell anyone, which is not the good thing. I must advise that you should tell someone about it, especially when you're married and you have a wife of more than 20 years. So when I told my wife about my decision, or I just mentioned to her casually one day that I'd signed up for it, and it's not even the next day. I mean, I would have mentioned, I don't know how many months later or days later, and
Yeah.
she was furious about it.
So did you
um,
tell her after the surgery or before the before doing it?
no, so organ donation, of course. I mean, once you die, you donate your. I mean, you give it in writing that you will donate.
Oh, I thought
Uh,
I thought you went
no,
for
no,
a
no, no,
kidney donation or
no, no,
something like
no,
that.
not that, not that,
All
not that.
right. All
So
right.
even that decision of giving your body for whatever purpose, and I won't really care if what happens to my body after I die, right? But I think the important thing is that you tell your family, the near dear ones, because there is, in our society, there is still a attachment to physical body, right? I mean, after your death, somebody will want to look at you. I don't know why, but So I told her, and she was quite upset about it that I didn't tell her. Um, but then she signed up for it as well. So that was a good ending to it.
Hmm.
But I think everybody should sign up for it. And of course, I mean, even if you sign up for it, it's the the planets have to align in the right way, because when you die, those things have to be there in place
Yeah,
and everything. But at least the intention matters.
yeah, the intention matters, and the fact that you took him. Wait. So the fact that you took such an action selflessly and without telling your family really shows your commitment to, just contributing back to humanity. And I think it's a noble cause, and everybody should sign up to it for it, unless you have some physical or health
Yeah.
issue. Aside from that, sir, what excites you the most and concerns you the most about today's generation? And yeah,
Um, I have a lot of things to be excited about. Not too many things about concerns, but I am really excited and I'm really motivated to see the young generation working on their own terms. Um, you know, I think there is a lot of clarity in what you want to do. And when I say the young generation, I'm talking about a certain segment of the society. Unfortunately, not every young person of your age or younger to you have the same opportunities and everything that you have, right? So we have this certain filter in front of our eyes when we talk about younger generation. There are a lot of people of your age and younger who may not have those opportunities. But let's focus on our segment here, so to speak. And I think there is a lot of promise in the way people think about their own future. I think you guys are very very clear about what you want to do. You may have certain apprehensions, you may have certain fears, but that's normal in any age, I suppose. It's not really something to be unduly worried about. And as far as our country is concerned, I think India is in a situation today where we don't really have to worry about the daily bread anymore, isn't it? I mean, we're quite comfortable in that sense, and that gives us a lot of perspective and opportunity to experiment. So today, I think my children and my friends' children are not being forced to follow, a certain path, become an engineer or a doctor or something. I think we have passed that stage, and I think that's the stage when the country progresses phenomenally. Now, and that's one reason why you're seeing so much achievement in sports, because paid bhara hua hai, right? I mean, we
hmm.
know we know I don't have to worry about tomorrow's bread because my parents are there or whatever. I mean, I'm quite comfortable. So in that sense, we are entering a golden age. I'm
Yeah.
really positive about how things would happen with the young generation.
Yeah, that's a good mindset to have. And personally, I also believe that with the change in our income level, as well as, the mindset shift that this era of technology has brought in, I think the best change is that people have focused, have began thinking about themselves and what they want to do, rather than just earning and getting the best job, which is one of the biggest challenges that India still faces. I think a lot of middle class people still pester on their children to go and give that JE exam or NEET exam, which I see in my peer group. A lot of people really strive for that and give up on their passions, and it is a problem that still plagues our nation. I hope that but there is a positive change that is coming, and hopefully we'll the change comes quicker. And so,
It will happen. I think you just need to see at the more developed countries to see your future. It's bound to happen. It's not really that far away. I was referring to the Australian context that we were talking about the trade, um, trade kind of training. So, for instance, in India, we are still looking at IIT JEE and AIMS, and medicine and law probably has come up a little bit more, and so on. But we don't really think that our next generation would really get into things like carpentry or plumbing and things like that, right? I mean, or even engineering, for instance, core engineering, maybe uh, operating a machine. But gradually, I think people will turn back into those areas, because obviously there'll be a dearth of people in dearth of skills in those domains, and there's only so much that you can do in on a computer and a laptop with AI doing everything for you. So you will have to turn back into something which is more to be done with hands. And one of the areas that will come up very surely is the aged care and mental health and those kind of areas as well. So I'm sure people will transition, and there is definitely a brighter future.
Yeah. So I also agree. I hope this transition happens quicker and for our generation as well. So aside from that, what mindset do you think young people should cultivate to thrive in the uncertain times of this era?
There's a very cliched kind of term which is growth mindset, but I think there's a lot to do with how you think and how positive you are in your approach, and being being a long distance runner and cyclist and so on. I think it helps to put things in perspective. When, for instance, you're running a marathon, let's say you're doing a 21-kilometer run, and somewhere around 15 or 16 kilometers, your brain starts working against you. The brain tells you, why the hell are you doing this? I mean, you just stop, and you want to stop because the brain is telling you. But then because you have this end line, end point in your mind, and you also want to brag about it in the social media next day. You want to tell your friends uh, and make a big noise about it. So I think those things keep you moving, and you need to find your own motivation to do that. But once you found it, then there is a growth mindset that really happens, and that's the trick that everybody has to figure out for themselves. It obviously is not common for you and I. I mean, you may be motivated by something else. I may be doing something else, but if we can develop that mindset, I think there is nothing that can stop you achieving something.
Yeah, find a cause to get addicted, and
Yes,
the
true.
cause may differ for everybody, but the goal should be positive at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
And aside from that, sir, what advice do you think you would give to your 20-year-old self?
I I would certainly say that you should have taken care of your body while you were preparing for IIT and all other exams. I think there was a need to take care of your body much more, like my late father used to say, and he always used to say that no matter what happens, no matter what you fail in or not achieve something or achieve something, if the body is not giving you enough support, there's nothing. I mean, there's nothing in this world.
Hmm.
So no amount of riches or achievement will help.
Yeah, I agree. You should invest in yourself from a young age and, keep it as a discipline because it pays off in the future as well. And ultimately, being fit helps you be more happy as well. In certain contexts, you don't limit yourself from certain situations. You're able to participate freely in any activity that you want. And it's very freeing. And you don't stress uh, a
Absolutely.
lot. So,
And
sir,
trust me, I think it
yeah.
also opens doors, surprisingly, when you have something. I mean, I'm not just talking about fitness. Like you said, I mean, maybe music or art or something. Having something outside your specialist work area, I think it opens doors as well. You get to meet diverse set of people who may not be in your circle of influence, because once you enter an area, you will probably be with those kind of people only, right?
Hmm.
But if you have a certain different kind of passion or a hobby or whatever you call it, I think it opens doors to more people,
Yeah,
and
and
that's a big help.
and it makes it easier to approach people. You can't approach people and expect them to support you if you're only talking about work to them. So if you find a common space of understanding and just discuss and then build from there, and then at the end of the day. Try to sell them something that I want a job or something like that. You should start off from somewhere where
Absolutely.
you seem genuinely interested in the person, not their work or their position. And that really
True.
goes a long way. I've also seen this with my YouTube channel as well. I've interviewed a lot more people, a lot of people, and I've gotten to know them. And after that, they've helped me also in the future. So I
Absolutely.
think it's something that everybody should do. And yeah. So aside from that, sir, you're my senior at IIMK, and this is one question that I really wanted to ask as well. You're from the first batch of IIM Kozhikode. What was the atmosphere when you started, and what was it like building something as a founding batch? And is that where your entrepreneurial spirit came from?
Actually, yes, I was never an entrepreneur. I would have never imagined something like this. But then when we were on the day one, there was nothing there, in the REC. We were based in the REC campus and there was virtually nothing there. I mean, we had just empty rooms and, but the kind of exposure and kind of support that IMK gave in those days, and I'm sure it continues to give that. I think that turned a new leaf in our career, every one of us from that batch, because uh, in a way we were trying to set up things, and a lot of them continue till this day, but and a lot of them don't, which we hardly care about it. But I think it was a good feeling to start something off at that stage with minimal resources. It's always a good feeling to be a part of a founding institution, and you go back in those days, and I can brag about it in front of you that okay, we saw the foundation stone of the new campus and all that stuff. But at the core of it, I think it gave us a lot of confidence that we could achieve something, even if there were not too many resources.
Yeah, that's amazing. So I'm also part of the Bachelor's of Management Studies course, which launched last year itself, and we are based off of the Kochi campus, not the Kozhikode campus. So we are starting off with a fresh campus, which was inaugurated last January, and we get the same vibes. I started the e-cell of our club, of our college, the entrepreneurship cell, and I don't think that I could have gotten a similar experience at another college, because I feel like I am the main character here. We are all able to start everything that we want. We don't have any restrictions, any limits, and it's really freeing, and it makes us more responsible in some sense as well. So we're really enjoying our experience at Kozhikode, and it's really amazing being a part of the first batch. Aside from that, sir, I have a rapid fire round now. I'll ask a few questions, and you have to answer in one word or so. So, are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. So, sir, degree or skills?
Skills.
AI or human creativity?
AI.
Consistency or talent?
Consistency.
Learning or earning?
Earning.
Books or experience?
Oh, that's a hard one. Um, Experience.
One skill that every student should develop.
Confidence.
One habit that changed your life.
Getting up early in the morning.
One technology that excites you the most.
AI, no doubt.
One fitness lesson everyone should learn.
just get up in the morning every day and do it. Just appear there.
One word for you that defines success.
Um, Responsibility.
Amazing. So that concludes the round. And I have one last question. So, one no, or two last questions. Sir, it was amazing to have you here. It was, I hope my viewers can say the same. If you have any questions, my viewers, you can put them down in the comments below, and I'll make sure to get them to Sir if I can. Based on his schedule, he's busy, but he's available. And yeah, aside from that, sir, uh, um, please advise a few people that you would like to see on the show from your network, or people that you believe that I should interview to learn, and who you think can contribute to my channel. So people that you know, that I can take on the show.
Sure, there are quite a few of them. Maybe should I send a list to you and you can choose?
I don't mind. I don't mind.
Yeah,
So when you get whenever you get time,
sure.
please feel free to share
I've
some
met
people.
I've been very fortunate in meeting fabulous people throughout my life,
Amazing.
right from my family to friends and to colleagues and everyone. They're fantastic set of people. I can name 100 of them, but I'll try to restrict them to a manageable number for you.
Yeah, it would be an honor to interview them, and I hope you can get me connected. Aside from that, sir, it was a pleasure interviewing you again. I've said this a lot more times than I thought I would have during this interview, but yeah, I enjoyed my time and I learned a lot. And I'll focus on my fitness a lot as well. But how was your experience, sir? And do you have any advice for me or my channel, how I can grow?
I I think this was wonderful, and I'm so sorry that I couldn't really uh, get you the time that you wanted to, over the last 1 month or so because of our travel schedules and everything. But I'm really happy that we did this today, and I don't think there is. I don't think I need to give you any advice on how do you do the fantastic work you do. I have no experience in that domain. I'm sure you're doing really well, and all the best to you.
Thank you, sir. It was amazing
Thank
having
you.
you here. Now, my viewers, let's meet next week. It was amazing discussing with sir. Ciao for now. Bye bye.
Thank you very much.